I missed the start on this one, since Halloween came and passed already. However, Dying Light is still one good single-player game, and despite its age, it still looks good. I'd also add that, thanks to its age, this game is actually accessible to older graphics cards. This game was also free on Epic Games, back in April 2023. If you missed it, I wouldn't worry too much. The game store has the habit of repeating some of its deals. Just keep an eye for it. For this video, I opted to try out running the game on the entry-level cards from the Xeon family, and by that I mean the R7250 as the very bottom of the ladder card using the Oland XT GPU, the HD7750, also known as the R7250E or R7250 512 SP using the Cape Verde GPU, and the HD7770, later renamed to R7250X using the Cape Verde Pro GPU. All of these 1GB GDDR3 video cards then took turns in the same good old Z230 workstation, using the same i7-4770 equivalent Xeon and 32GB of DDR3 at 1600 MHz running in dual channel. We'll test the game only at the lowest settings, but at 3 resolutions: 1920 by 1080, 1600 by 900, and 1280 by 720. And we start off with 1080 results, and to no surprise, the HD7770 takes the lead with an average of 41 FPS and 1% loss value of 35. For a single player experience, this feels good, as the 0.1% loss value of 30 would imply, and you should not need to drop the resolution. The following card, the HD7750, also holds its own quite well, with all numbers, average, 1% lows and the 0.1% lows still above 30 FPS. The R7250 does struggle just a little bit, with the average at 31 FPS and 1% lows in the high 20s. The experience is far from horrible, it leaves you wanting a bit more. And one way to do that is by lowering the resolution, and this brings us to 1600 by 900. The HD7770 already did well at Full HD, but even then, the increase of FPS is welcome, with the average at 52 FPS and 1% lows at 45, the previous resolution's average. The HD7750 now feels just how the 7770 felt at Full HD, with the average at 43 FPS and 1% lows of 37. As for the R7250, well, it climbed up in a similar fashion, reaching 38 FPS on average and 34 FPS for the 1% lows. Even the 0.1 lows is above 30 FPS, and this would be the resolution I'd use to play the game using this Oland XT GPU. 720 resolution is not really needed to play this single player game. However, since you're not going to do any long-range sniping using iron sights, then you might as well drop the resolution and then be able to choose your favorite visual options to turn up. And speaking of which, the HD7770 will reach an average of 78 FPS and 1% lows in the high 60s. The game does not really require this kind of FPS to be playable though, but at least will give you the freedom to increase some of the visuals. The HD7750 also has some performance overhead, with the average FPS at 54 and 1% lows of 45. Not as much as the 7770, but there's still something there. And the R7250, well, the headroom is not that much for it. The average FPS goes to 48 and 1% lows are still above 40. Would I play this game using any of these cards? Absolutely. Despite being entry-level cards, they are more than adequate to allow you to experience the game's universe. The game has a pretty good story, plenty of ways to evolve your character, and while it may also have a bit of a learning curve, it still has the ability to pull me in. The atmosphere is there, and the game has the same effect on me as the old Stalker game had. We'll also experiment a bit with the mid-range cards from the Xeon family in another video. Make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss it. As for this one, well, we're done. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you